Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Whenever you're watching this video, I am Austin. This is Following Jesus. If you don't know what Following Jesus is a Bible study. We started in the book of Matthew, chapter 3. We are currently on the book of John, chapter 18. We are almost done with the book of John. If you would like, you can follow me on my YouTube page. That is, just type in my name at YouTube. You'll see it. It's Following JE3US. I have all the books arranged into playlists. If this is your first time watching this video, I encourage you to go back, starting with Matthew, and to read if you are interested in, reading with us. After John, I am going to take a break, maybe like 2 weeks or so, to start actually promoting these videos. I never really even started promoting them. I legit just posted them so I could get them out there. Then I could focus on, taking a break. And in the midst of that break, I'll try to promote these videos so that more people can follow. But I don't really push following right now, but I do want to do that later. But anyways, we are on the book of John, chapter 18. Not much really I want to say right now. John chapter 18, we know Jesus just prayed to his Father. Let me turn this light on. I hate this. We know Jesus just prayed to his Father shortly after telling the disciples not to be offended in the sayings that he had prepared for them. We know he prayed to his Father for both himself, his disciples, and for us, those who follow us. If you did not see that video, I encourage you to see that video. I feel like it's very helpful to some, as well as the video before that. I'm not recommending it because it's my video. I'm recommending it because I actually believe it will be helpful to some who may be watching. If I had a terrible video, I would tell you and I would say, watch something else because I was off or something was off. I'm sorry, y'all. I just noticed that this power is out. Every girl just be plugging stuff out. Anyways, we are on John chapter 18, verse 1. When Jesus had spoken these words, he just got done praying. When Jesus had spoken these words, he went forth with his disciples over the brook Cedron, where was a garden into the which he entered, and his disciples. I believe this is the chapter where Jesus is betrayed. Where it talks about Judas betraying Jesus. So we've spoken about this in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here because it's not much in it that's, not straightforward, not just right there. So it's going to be a lot of reading. We start in verse 1 again. When Jesus had spoken these words, he went forth with his disciples over the brook Cedron, where was a garden into which he entered, and his disciples. And Judas also, which betrayed him, knew the place, for Jesus ofttimes resorted thither with his disciples. Judas then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, cometh thither with lanterns and torches and weapons. Jesus therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto them, Whom seek ye? They answered him, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus said unto them, I am he. And Judas also, which betrayed him, stood with them. As soon as he had said unto them, I am he, they went backward and fell to the ground. Then asked he them again, Whom seek ye? And they said, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus answered, I have told you that I am he. If therefore you seek me, let these go their way, that the saying might be fulfilled which he spake, Of them which thou gavest me, I have lost none. Something that I actually meant to point out, I didn't notice it until after I got off of the video last night. He said I lost none. I remember how I keep saying that Jesus, his sheep will know his voice. He said, my sheep will hear my voice, and a stranger will they not follow. Mind you, he had many followers at first. He had many followers. I can't remember how much. Um, let me just Google how much because I can't get it. Let me see how much followers did Jesus initially have. It was 72. There we go. No, come on, Google. He sent out 70 others, but he sent out 12, then he sent out 72. My point is, he had many followers at first. But then, after having many followers at first, he lost those followers. And Jesus said, "Will thou leave also?" And the 12 disciples said, "Where are we going to go?" But my point is, even though he lost all those other disciples, he said here, "Of them which thou gavest me have I lost none." Meaning, all them people that was following him didn't belong to him. His sheep will hear his voice, and a stranger will they not follow. So if they were his sheep and they would have stayed, if they were his sheep, they would have stayed and he would have lost none. So even though he lost these people, he never had them. So he didn't technically lose them. I thought that was interesting. He said, "The ones that thou gavest me have I lost. Many are called, few are chosen." Verse 10, then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it and smote the high priest's servant and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. We all know that Peter was different. Peter was very um, outspoken and outgoing, it appears. But Peter, having a sword, drew it and smote the priest's servant and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Then said Jesus unto Peter, "Put up thy sword into the sheath. The cup which my Father hath given me, shall I not drink it?" Then the band and the captain and officers of the Jews took Jesus and bound him and led him away to Annas first, for he was father-in-law to Caiaphas, which was the high priest that same year. Now Caiaphas was he which gave counsel to the Jews that it was expedient that one man should die for the people. Now again, this is the fourth gospel that we're reading, and we do see some different details and some missing details from the other gospels. Some people may discredit the Bible because they see different details when we're reading. Guys, these are four different men telling the story about what they witnessed. If you ask four different men to tell a story, if you go watch the news and you ask four different people, "Hey, there was a shooting at this gas station. What did you see?" It's all gonna sound the same. It doesn't mean they're lies. It doesn't mean it's not true. They all sound the same, but they're coming from different perspectives. What people find more important, that's what they choose to point out. John spoke a lot about revelation of who Jesus Christ. He spoke a lot about spiritual things, who Jesus Christ was, uh, what he did spiritually when he prayed. He's focused more on spiritual things. Matthew was a lot more detailed. So my point is different points of view. It's not there are inconsistencies, but they're consistent inconsistencies. If you get what I'm saying, when people tell different stories, it's not going. Actually, if four different people tell a story and it's exact the same, it's actually less credible at that point because now it seems like it's rehearsed. That's not how people's minds work. I just want to point that out. But we're going to verse 15. And Simon Peter followed Jesus, and so did another disciple, that Jesus was known unto the high priest, and went in with Jesus into the palace of the high priest. But Peter stood at the door without. Then went out that other disciple, which was known unto the high priest, and spake unto her that kept the door, and brought in Peter. Then saith the damsel that kept the door unto Peter, Art not thou also one of this man's disciples? He saith, I am not. And the servants and officers stood there, who had made a fire of coals, for it was cold, and they warmed themselves. And Peter stood with them and warmed himself. The high priest then asked Jesus of his disciples and of his doctrine. Jesus answered him, I spake openly to the world. I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whither the Jews always resort, and in secret have I said nothing. I loved it that Jesus said this. I loved it that Jesus said this. Jesus was open. Jesus did not, we live in a time now where people are, if you're walking in the light, it's very rare that you have to keep secrets and I gotta keep this secret and keep from telling this person this and keep from telling this person that and to keep from telling. The devil used scripture too. The devil will use, a talebearer revealeth many secrets. They will quote that to that's just like saying snitches get stitches. And most people who say that type of stuff is criminals. They do wrong things and then they think that they're gonna get away. Jesus said, listen, in secret have I said nothing. The things that I said, I spoke openly to the world. I didn't say things behind a corner or under a rock, and God didn't give us the spirit of fear. We have many people that say things behind closed doors, that represent Christ, behind closed doors, because they're fearful of what people will say or how people will judge them and stuff. Yes, it is very, it's a pain, when you put yourself out there in the light. When you put yourself out there in the light, let me explain something to you. When you put yourself out there in the light, you are putting yourself out there to be judged. You are putting yourself out there to be criticized, especially if you're speaking against wicked things, because a lot of wicked people, they will deflect and will start talking about you. One of the scary things about the Lord putting you in the light or bringing you to the light is he brought you out of darkness. So now that you were in the darkness and you're in the light and you're walking in the light, you now speak about the darkness. And because you're speaking about the darkness, some may see you as still in the dark, and others may see you as not trustworthy because they know you were in the dark. So what do I mean? If I was in this country and I was sent into Russia or sent into some other country to be a double agent, I used to work for this country. And then when I worked for this country, I work for this country as an agent of this country, but my goal is to go to a foreign country and deceive that country. Basically work for my country while in that country, but to actually bring back information to this country. Just a double agent. The country that I went to, that foreign country that I went to, they will see me as, some may not trust me. The reason why they don't trust me, this person works for America, but some may trust me. But when I go back into my own country, some may not trust me because they're like, this person betrayed that country. So how can I trust them that they won't betray this country? So what I'm saying is, when the Lord brings you out of darkness, you now represent the light. So you will speak about things in the dark and people will accuse you of still doing those things, or how you know this and how you know that. I was in the dark. Well, why were you in the dark? Everyone was in the dark. And some may not like it that you shed the light on certain things because they're still currently in the dark. I hope y'all get what I'm saying. I feel like I'm confusing right now, being confusing. My point is, if I was in the strip club and the Lord delivered me from the strip club, I sit here and I speak. Now I go back to the strip club in a way, but not physically back. Now I go back and reveal the thoughts and the hidden things of a man's heart when he's in a strip club. So many will look at you and say, oh, how you know that? How you know that stuff go on? Were you thinking? Yes, I was. And some will accuse you of still doing that, or some will still see you as doing that, but you have to ignore all of that. Jesus said, in secret have I done nothing. You're only guilty of what you're guilty of. You're not guilty of what people say you're guilty of. You're only guilty of what you are guilty of. And Jesus knew that. Jesus knew, I don't care how people twisted my words. I don't care how people sat here and said, oh, he said this, and he said in the temple, he's going to in the temple, he's going to destroy this temple and raise it up in 3 days. People will do that to you now. Oh, he said this, and how he know that, and how he if for example, I give this example. I've always said how I struggle with porn. Why do I give that example? Because I know there are some in the dark that still struggle with that stuff, and I know what it does to the mind. But those are people that are in the dark. What do I mean? They are hiding. And I'm not saying you should just come out and tell everybody your business. No, what I'm saying is you have to speak to those wicked things that people do behind closed doors that nobody's speaking about. And the reason why nobody's speaking about it is, again, because a lot of times some people are guilty of it. But when I did watch that stuff, you see the millions of views. It's way more millions of views than church services. And you know what's crazy? Church services go viral. Church services go viral sometimes. These type of videos, X-rated videos and stuff like that, they don't go viral. But there's millions and millions of people watching it. But yet still everyone's acting in the church, in the world. They be like, I don't care. I just do what I want to do. But in the church, I don't watch those things. I don't see. Yeah, right. There's millions of views. Now I'm speaking to what I experienced in the dark. And the people who are in the dark find that very uncomfortable. And people in the light also will find it uncomfortable because they feel like, why you talking about that? You used to do that. Doesn't matter. You are only guilty of what you are guilty of. Jesus said, in secret have I done nothing. Now, this is Jesus speaking. This is Jesus. But I always say we're following Jesus. If you live pressure is on you even the more to live a right life. You shouldn't ever live a good life because of the eyes of men, but you will feel the pressure when you speak out openly concerning the things of Jesus. You speak out openly. You feel the pressure because now men are looking to you to fail. A lot of them are looking to bring an accusation against you and stuff like that. But you have to remember, this is where hypocrites are created. When you mess up, you start keeping secrets. Ooh, I slipped up. I slept with this person I was supposed to sleep with. I cussed. I did this. And instead of you coming boldly before the throne of grace, and some people misunderstand that. What do you mean boldly before the throne of grace? I literally said I told myself I'm only going to be on here for about 15, 20 minutes. But I don't know if it's going to go. I don't know if it's going to go that way. Hebrews 4 and 15. Let's go to 4 and 14. Hebrews 4 and 14. Seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Jesus the Son of God, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly onto the throne of grace that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. Listen, when the Bible says come boldly in the throne of grace, that don't mean coming to the God like he got to give you something. No, that means you have to understand what your position was before the throne of grace. What your position was before the throne of grace was you couldn't even come to me. So now you come boldly in that you can come in the first place. But it's bold for you to even approach him. That's where the boldness comes in. It's bold for you to even approach his throne. So now he made it possible for you to even approach him for mercy, which is bold. For you to come and sin and then come to Jesus and say, Lord, please forgive me. That's bold. That's bold because you just sinned. So now you come boldly. So you can't reject that. I don't care how people looking at you, and provide things honest in the sight of all men. And when you do that, you have to acknowledge when you're wrong. But you have to come boldly before the throne of grace that he may forgive you. Jesus said, in secret have I said nothing. If you're saying things in secret, it's probably because you shouldn't be saying it. If you're doing things in secret, it's probably because you shouldn't be doing it. Now, I'm not saying that again, you are one with your wife. You are one with your spouse. You are one with your husband. Meaning y'all are of one mind. I believe it's okay to keep secrets and stuff with your husband. It's okay to keep secrets and stuff with your wife. Jesus was not married. It's okay. I believe that. It's okay to do that because, again, what's yours is his and what's his is hers. That's your mind. So it's one mind. It's just like you not saying something. So it's just like literally you not saying something that's in your mind. Oh, I'm trying to tread real lightly here because I know some people can misperceive this, and that is go telling everybody everything that they ever did. No, I'm talking about preventing hypocrisy. To prevent hypocrisy, speak that which you do know. Don't do anything that would require a secret. Come boldly before the throne of grace. If you have sinned, do not try and make it a secret and then use the Bible and say, a talebearer revealeth secrets. No, a sinner sin. And you don't want people to know that you're a sinner. So you use the Bible like the devil did to justify your sin. I'm not talking about that. Then you become a hypocrite. But Jesus said, in secret have I said nothing. And I strive to do that. I strive to where no one can openly no one can say anything about me from the dark. Oh, Austin, I saw you do this. I have said these are things I've said openly. What have I done that I have not said openly? What have I done that I have not been forgiven for? What have I said that was incorrect that I did not fix? What have I said that was incorrect? What guile did you find in my mouth? What dishonesty? Where did you find dishonesty in me? This is how I strive to live my life so that I can say the same thing that Jesus said, if they put me in their synagogues. We have an accusation against thee. Well, what accusation do you have against me? You have to try to live your life to where no one can bring a true accusation against you. They can bring all the false accusations they want to. So again, Jesus said, I spake openly to the world. I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whither the Jews always resort, and in secret have I said nothing. I didn't say anything in secret. Now we do know he said certain things to his disciples. We do know he said certain things to his disciples, but what he said to his disciples in most cases were explanations of what he said openly, because he said, I speak openly. When they said, why are you talking to us in parables? He said that seeing some may see and hearing some may hear. So what they heard, you may not have heard, but I still said it openly. So he's not lying. I still said what I said openly, but I explained it to them in private. So he still said what he said openly. And I believe we should strive to do that. Live a life to where you don't have to keep secrets. I believe a lot of secrets, all the secret keeping and stuff, those are for people whose deeds are evil in most cases, I say, in most cases, because I know sometimes people say keep things to protect other people. But again, try to live your life to where you don't have to where you don't have to duck and hide and do all this extra crap. Verse 21, why askest thou me? Ask them which heard me, that I have said what I have said unto them. Behold, they know what I said. What you asking me for? Ask the people that heard me, because You heard what I said. They heard what I said. I came in here boldly, Hey, giving myself in as an example, not other people, giving myself. Hey, Austin, I heard you said this on video. It's on video. Go watch what I said. For you to come telling me, oh, I heard you said this on video. Did you say this? Did you see the video? Well, I've seen a clip. I think you should watch the whole video. We're living in an age now where they take clips and they modify it and stuff like that. But after you watch the whole video, then what you mean? It's kind of the same thing. Jesus saying, look, go ask for people. You have access to what I said. Verse 22, and when he had thus spoken, one of the officers which stood by struck Jesus with the palm of his hand, saying, answerest thou the high priest so? Now he feel like, oh, you are disrespecting authority, so he slapped Jesus. Imagine the restraint that is in Jesus. We're following Jesus. Just because, listen, and I've been here before, just because you submit yourself to people or you take on submissiveness or you take on humility, that doesn't make you weak. That actually makes you strong. These people that react emotionally, and I'm not speaking as from a moral high ground because I react emotionally sometimes. Sometimes I get mad, sometimes I get irritated. So I'm not speaking from a moral high ground. I'm speaking as one who is learning not to do that myself. Especially as a man with children, you can't be so doggone emotional. You got kids and stuff like that. You got to learn how to be level-headed. But my point is, imagine the restraint that Jesus had to have. He's teaching us we have to have restraint. People slapping you in your face, that makes you a strong person. It may seem like you're weak, but Jesus is not weak. And you're not weak if you have Jesus with you. So don't feel like you always have to go back. And again, Jesus is not a hypocrite. He said, when someone smites your cheek, turn the other cheek also. We saw where Peter cut off someone's ear. He healed the man's ear. Malchus, he healed the man's ear. Now someone slapped him on the cheek and we see we ain't slapping back. This man had power to literally slap the heaven out of him. And he had the power to do that. And he didn't. So we see that he didn't submit to his will. Jesus answered in verse 23, if I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why smitest thou me? He's saying, look, if I'm speaking good, what you slapping me for? Jesus' goal when he dealt with people was to get them to see their heart. And that is an act of mercy, actually. That's an act of love, and that's an act of mercy. To get people to see where they're wrong, because that is what drives repentance. It's up to them to see the wrong. So your goal should be to get people to see repentance, to get people to see the wickedness in the thing, because that's what leads them to repentance. And then once they repent, leave them alone. But his goal was to get them to see themselves. Why are you slapping me? What evil did I do? Now Annas had sent him bound unto Caiaphas the high priest. And Simon Peter stood and warmed himself. They said therefore unto him, art not thou also one of his disciples? He denied it and said, I am not. One of the servants of the high priest, being his kinsman, whose ear Peter cut off, saith, did not I see thee in the garden with him? Peter then denied again, and immediately the cock crew. Then led they Jesus from Caiaphas unto the hall of judgment, and it was early. And they themselves went not into the judgment hall, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Passover. Pilate, if you're asking, what does that mean? You're asking the wrong person. I don't even think it's that relevant. If I knew, though, I would tell you, but I don't know. And I don't feel like looking it up because I don't think it's that relevant for me to look it up. Verse 29, Pilate then went out unto them and said, what accusation bring ye against this man? They answered and said unto him, if he were not a malefactor, we would not have delivered him up unto thee. A malefactor is a person who just is a wicked person. Then said Pilate unto them, take ye him and judge him according to your law. The Jews therefore said unto him, it is not lawful for us to put any man to death. that the saying of Jesus might be fulfilled, which he spake, signifying what death he should die. Mind you, Pilate was a Roman. Pilate was the Roman, and the Romans were over the Jews at this time. So the chief priest and all them stuff is the Jewish leaders. So he's telling them, hey, look, judge him according to y'all law. Leave me alone. Leave the Romans alone. But the Romans, they crucified people who was guilty of things. So it was meant for him to be judged by the Romans and not the Jews per se. Verse 32, that the same, verse 33, then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again and called Jesus and said unto him, art thou king of the Jews? Jesus answered him, sayest thou this thing of thyself, or did others tell it thee of me? Pilate answered, am I a Jew? Thine own nation and the chief priests have delivered thee unto me. What hast thou done? Jesus answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. What I just heard is that Jesus has said that if my kingdom was of this, Jesus is describing how he rules. He said, if my kingdom is not of this world. He said, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight. My servants would fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. Listen, Jesus just said, my kingdom is not of this world. Because if it were, then my servants would be fighting y'all, that I don't be delivered unto death. He just said something very important, and I'm just realizing. He just let you know what his servants should be fighting for. We shouldn't be fighting. The Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. I think that's Ephesians or something like that. That's Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. We have a spiritual fight. We're not supposed to, we're as his servants, we're not fighting these natural fights. Our fight is for that which is spiritual. It may appear we fight in natural fights, but our fights is for that which is spiritual. I'll give you an example. When Charlie Kirk was killed, I made a video and I was so irritated when Charlie Kirk was killed. I saw the way people was responding, but people may look at it and think, oh, he's fighting a natural fight. He leave politics to the people. I'm not fighting about no politics. I'm fighting just like Jesus talked about the heart posture behind the law. I was fighting because I was seeing the heart posture behind people. Black people are justifying a man's death because he's white and thinking, oh, he's white and you're a coon because you sat here and you're justifying him. And the same thing they do to Jesus. Listen, you're foolish. The man spoke and did things and tried to push Christ and tried to push the laws of Christ. So I fight the wickedness that was done to him. What happened was wickedness, spiritual wickedness. There's spiritual wickedness in high places, and this is what the fight is. It's not fighting the people in office and stuff like that. It's fighting the wicked spirits that is operating in the office. It's fighting the wicked spirits that is using us as pawns and using our emotions and using our reactivity and our impulsiveness to get us to do their bidding for them. This is the things that we fight against, not men. Men may misperceive it as a natural fight, as they did here, because he said king of the Jews. And they like, you ain't no king of the Jews, because he said, I'll raise this temple in 3 days. And they like, you going to destroy our physical temples? You will say these things. Listen, it's not right for y'all to be talking about white people and talking about, oh, don't ever call him a white Martin Luther King. What are we fighting about? Why are we? They both did good. What are we fighting? You can see the spiritual wickedness behind what's going on. The division, the hate, the partiality, the respect of person. in people's judgment. And that's what we fight against. So when you speak out against it, they feel like you're protecting a person, but you're not protecting a person. You're protecting a value. Let's value human life. But they don't see that. Because why? They are of this world. And when they are of this world, they can't see the things that's not of this world. But Jesus is letting you know, if you're his servants, you're not fighting these battles. You're not getting guns and stuff like that and talking about, I'm going to shoot this person and do this and do that. And we go on to war. And yeah, those people in that country, they this and that. And you don't even know these people in the country. They probably ain't even studying you. You don't know the wickedness that may be going on. And Verse 37, Pilate therefore said unto him, Art thou a king then? Jesus answered, Thou sayest that I am a king. To this end I was born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Everyone that is of the truth heareth my voice. People nowadays would have said Jesus is a manipulator. Oh, he's being manipulative. Oh, he's being evasive. He's not answering the question directly. The same things you may hear. Because again, Jesus knew how to answer these people. Oh, he's narcissistic. Oh, he's unaccountable because he's not. No, he knew what he was talking about. Verse 38, Pilate saith unto him, What is truth? And when he had said this, he went out again unto the Jews and saith unto them, I find in him no fault at all. Even after talking with Jesus, he said, I find no fault in this man. I don't know why y'all brought him to me. But verse 39, But ye have a custom that I should release unto you one at the Passover. Will ye therefore that I release unto you the King of the Jews? Then cried they all again, saying, Not this man, but Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a robber. So they chose the sinner over Jesus. They chose their own. And that's why I said in a couple videos ago, they paint Jesus as their hero. But I want you all to understand. I want you to understand. As popular as Jesus is, as much people profess Jesus, he is the villain to many. And I want you to remember that. He is the villain to many. There's a mass revival going on. There's a mass revival and everyone's coming to Jesus Christ. Not everyone that is following Jesus is following Jesus. They're following the ones who appear to follow Jesus. But if those leave, they're going to go with them also. This is how the Antichrist can get ushered into the world. He gets ushered into the world because of people's unbelief. So there's going to be revivals where people appear to follow Jesus. But remember, he was not of the world. And the world won't receive him because he's not of this world. The world didn't receive him because he's not of this world. But he spoke to the disciples and to us, the followers, saying that the world is not going to receive us. So don't fall for the illusion that the world is receiving him, because he told us the world is not going to receive him. Just make sure you receive him. But I'm letting you know, don't fall for the illusion that the world is receiving him. The Antichrist has to come. Antichrist spirit has to come. And they will deceive the very elect if it was possible. He would deceive the very elect if it was possible. But he can't deceive you if you're following Jesus and if you have the word in your heart. And if you've been reading all this Bible, following me in this Bible, and not just following me, reading it and studying it and having it in your heart. And once you have it in your heart, you'll see these things that people are saying, guys. Oh, there's a mass revival of Christianity and of people with Jesus. Jesus said, they that are of the world will not accept me. The world is not going to. Look what Jesus said in John. If you didn't watch that video, we're going to read what he said in his prayer. Verse 15. No, verse 14. I have given, John 17:14, I have given them thy word, and the world hath hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. I want y'all to pay attention to this. I have given them thy word, and the world hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. So listen to what Jesus is saying. He's saying the world hates them because they're not of the world. So even though it appears to be this mass, everyone is accepting Christ, and there's this mass revival, and there's this mass breakout of everybody coming to Jesus, I want you to focus and remember that he said his followers, the world hates them. And I want you to remember something else he said to his followers, to his disciples. In verse 16, he said, chapter 16, verse 1 and verse 2, these things have I spoken unto you, that ye should not be offended. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you, they're going to think something. What will they think? That whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth God's service. There's a mass outbreak and there's a mass revival of Christians and people coming and serving Christ. But these are the ones that is coming together to grow up and believe that they're working in God's service. And you feel like, oh, this is a mass revival, so we're going to fight, and we're going to fight the good fight, and not realizing you're fighting against the hero. Because to y'all, Jesus is a villain. Do not fall for that stuff. Just make sure you are following Jesus, and make sure you are following the true Jesus. Make sure you don't fall for the hype of, oh, everybody's just coming to Christ. Look at this person. I'm not going to name no names because that's judgmental, and I could be wrong. But look at this person. They used to rap about this, and now they coming to Jesus. So they used to rap about this. Now they coming to Jesus. Now they appear to be following Jesus. So the people that follow them will follow them, and they will appear to be following Jesus because they just following them. But they don't realize some of these people ain't really following Jesus. They following that paycheck because yet Jesus was was acknowledged as the hero because he will win. But that does not mean he's the hero in the world story. He could be the enemy. He is the enemy in the world's eyes. But they have to paint the illusion that he is their hero to deceive you. They can't deceive you coming up here saying, I hate Jesus. No, they gotta come and say we love Jesus, and oh, we working for Jesus, and we doing this. Hey, look, let me pay this person to preach Jesus, and pay this person to preach Jesus, and pay this person to push this agenda. And look, we love the Lord. Don't fall for that crap. They're going to persecute you, and they're going to believe they're doing God's service. This was following Jesus, John chapter 18. Thank you guys for watching.